I've always tried to be very clear on my channel about what I advocate for and what I don't. I've never been the type of person to want to rail against children, especially in that situation that we had recently for the little 5-year-old girl that was attacked by, I think, a 10-year-old child or something like that. Y'all saw that story on my channel. Very, very devastating. But it was such a unique story. I said I still have to give my opinion on it. I'm not a person that wants to say that children need to be in prison, be in jail. That's why more times than none, when those stories come up, I don't speak about them. The thing that makes this story a little bit different is that that individual that you guys see on the right-hand side of my screen is 18 years old. So that would make him a legal adult. We're going to talk about this, but it has a very, very strange thing that just happened. So let me give you a disclaimer. I may or may not use some language that you might not find appropriate, but this is intended for mature audiences. Mommy of 3, take it away. Let's go.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
So I'm getting this update from New York Post, nypost.com. So thank you for the article. So again, I'm going to say that some of the stuff is alleged. I will try to clarify which parts are. Now, Oklahoma taking a huge, huge L here. More specifically, Stillwater, Oklahoma, which I don't even claim that to be part of Oklahoma just because Stillwater has OSU out there, and I'm all about OU, right? My Sooners, Boomer Sooner. Not the biggest OSU fan anyway. An Oklahoma teenager who is facing nearly 80 years behind bars in prison after being convicted of raping and assaulting 2 high school girlfriends. This grown man, who's 18 years old, has dodged prison altogether. And just like the great individual said, Kanye West, the great philosopher Kanye West said, he said, how, Sway? How? raping and assaulting 2 high school girls. You see the charges right there. The R word, the DA word, the SB word, and the strangulation. I can't even say nothing on YouTube. I don't know why I can't say those words. I mean, it's just details of what happened. He dodged prison altogether. Can y'all believe that? Under a shocking sweetheart plea deal, sparking outrage among the victims' parents and lawmakers. And thank you, DM Costa, showing some love in the super chat. If y'all want to hit that super chat, like DM Costa and show some love, you could definitely do it. Please show support to the channel. I want to say thank you very much for doing that, showing love. And also shout out to our friend Jamie in the Cash App who donated. So if you're listening, thank you very much. This individual's name, who they refer to as a monster, and I want y'all to remember, when you do not hold people accountable for the things that they do wrong, they become emboldened and they tend to do it more. They tend to become worse. They don't get better. They don't learn. They become worse. Mark my words on that. He's 18 years old. I believe that he's going to get worse way before he ever turns his life around and does anything good. His name is Jesse Mack Butler, 18 years old, avoided jail time last week over the spate of sick attacks on 2 16-year-old girls in Stillwater in early 2024, including that one left the victim close to death after being choked to the point of being unconscious. Initially, Butler, who was 17 years old at the time, was charged as an adult and was slapped with 10 felony counts including the R word, RAPE, attempted RAPE, and the S word, battery, and assault. The baseball player pleaded not guilty to all charges, but later struck a what they call a sweetheart deal with the district attorney's office to change his status from adult to youthful offender. And to me, that sounds subjective. To me, that sounds like, and this is where, in my humble opinion, the system can become unfair. When you look at this young individual and you say, you see him as your son, you see him as your family member, you see him somebody from your race, and because again, all races do this. Mexicans look out for Mexicans, blacks look out for blacks, Irish look out for Irish, white look out for white, criminals look out for criminals. No pun intended there, but it might make actual sense here. I get that. But that's when you have to be unbiased. When you're in the law, you literally are vowing to be unbiased. So when you look at this individual, you're supposed to look at the evidence, look at the charges, look at the victims, and give the appropriate justice. There is no way in the effing world that you can look at what this boy has done, what the victims claim that he did, allegedly, and think that he deserves youthful offense charges. If anybody else, in my humble opinion, I just think that if you wanted to make this a racial thing, you give credence to it, where if you flip this and said if this was a black child or Mexican child, hell, even in this country, let me not go there. I'm not going to get political. Let me not do that. But I will say this. I don't think they would have got no goddamn sweetheart deal if it would have been anybody else of any other race. I'm just being real. That's just what I see through my eyes. I see this as being a biased choice. These girls, these daughters, these granddaughters of someone, what justice do they get from that? Do y'all remember when y'all was 17 years old? Because I damn sure do. When I was 10 years old, if I was 11, 12, 13 years old, I remember when I became a teenager. I guarantee you, if I would have done something like this at age 13, I would have been held accountable and there would have been no sweetheart deal for doing something like this, let alone being old enough to drive and damn near old enough to vote. You are well aware of what you're doing, well aware of what you're trying to get from it, well aware of the consequences, and just flat out didn't give a crap. But he gets to get off because of allegedly his age. That's ridiculous. So yes, people should be outraged. Why should anybody even want to see anything other than him get punished for what he did is beyond me. Butler, who is the son of a prominent local sports coach. That sounds political to me. I'm going to say that again. He is the son of a prominent sports coach. Switched his plea deal to no contest after a judge signed off on the deal. Hell, we even got white people in the chat who agree. I'm just saying. You said he suffered from affluenza. I get what you're saying. I get you. Under local laws, the youth plea deal means that Butler was sentenced last week to just 1 year of rehab and community service. Boy, and you know what? And you also have to think about people who might have retribution in their hearts. Those parents could have retribution in their hearts. You don't want that type of thing to happen where people want to take street justice, take the laws into their own hands. And this is why you're trusting the law and the people who are employing the law to do the right thing. I don't think they did here. That could be a thing that puts some real hate in a person's heart and say, you know what? We tried to do it the right way. Now we're going to do it my way. And I'm not encouraging the parents to do anything like that or the loved ones to do anything like that. But that's the type of thing that sparks the mind of someone like that. They failed here. He was facing 78 years in prison. And for what he did, yeah, that sounds about right. Look at his charges again. They quote, "It's appalling," and this is the mother of one of the victims, told the news that this is a slap on the wrist sentence. "I received similar punishments for breaking curfew when I was a teenager," she added. And that sounds about right. It's a complete injustice to these girls and to the future victims because, unfortunately, statistically, it won't end. Did I not say that? Rehab for these charges, that's not a sweetheart deal. It's a damn travesty. Reg, I feel you and I agree. Not only are you giving a slap on the wrist or slap in the face to these survivors, you're potentially putting other women at risk by not holding them accountable. And here's what I find so ironic when you're talking about we need to defend women in this society. Why is it that we can go so hard for women, but we don't go hard for girls who will eventually become women, and they might actually be damaged emotionally, physically, spiritually behind this. Therefore, that might actually cause them to come into adulthood damaged and might do damage to others because they didn't get the proper justice. Everybody understand? Hopefully that didn't go over nobody's head. That's the point of having a justice system. You don't need it to fail because it can have a catastrophic effect, and then you damn sure don't want it to go any further. Said you are potentially putting other women at risk by not holding him accountable. And guess what? They said it best. You couldn't say that any better. I agree. The mom of the second victim also ripped the joke of a punishment. "It's not equivalent to what he did to them," she said. "I told the DA I didn't want him to get away with this because I cannot know that another mother is going to have to go through what I went through. By giving him youthful offender status, all the prison time went away." The attacks on the two girls unfolded early last year when they each dated the sports star, according to court documents. The first victim told investigators that Butler repeatedly did the R word to her and choked her when she tried to refuse during their 3-month relationship. Her doctor says she had to undergo surgery to repair the damage to her neck after being choked, and that she would have died if the choking had lasted even 30 seconds longer. And that's according to court papers, not my words. Because I'm pretty sure that his daddy going to probably come over here and try to serve me with some court papers and flag my channel down and try to get justice against old DJ Just J for just giving a father's commentary based on the information that the courts provided and they're claiming to be facts against your terrible ass son. They will rail harder against a YouTube channel than they will for justice in real life. Isn't that crazy? I've actually had people do it, trying to serve me court papers to get me to take an effing video down. And that just pisses me off when they won't just do the right thing from the jump. It's ridiculous. An Oklahoma State rep by the name of Justin J.J. Humphrey, a Republican out of Choctaw, told the news that Banfield that the entire saga showed the court system is corrupt. How in the world did this judge get to this, he said. If that doesn't fire you up, then there's something wrong. The laws are there, but what do you do when they don't follow them? Does this sound like justice, he added? In my opinion, I think this is something that maybe the Supreme Court should take over and make and completely just overhaul this entire thing and try to actually get real justice, because this is not it. Let me give you guys a forewarning about my channel, and this is under fair usage. Let's get it.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
How many of you guys are watching this video right now who are outraged about this story? If you never heard about this, how many of y'all are outraged that this young man got away with this? It's ridiculous. Hear the news videos, y'all hit that thumbs up, leave a comment, share it, and make this go viral. Let's get it.
Well, if this don't set you on fire, I guarantee your wood's wet, because it makes you upset. Anybody that listens to this is going to be absolutely upset. And you start into how did this happen? How do we stop this? But here's the problem. The laws are there. What do you do when the courts don't follow the rules that's already set? Because they're the ones who set this. They filed charges on him. They set him as an adult. That didn't just happen. They had to have a hearing to adjudicate him to an adult. So how in the world did this judge come back and rule that, no, we're going to place him under a Youthful Offender Act and make it to where this sexual predator, this person convicted of all these sexual crimes, no longer has to do any of the things that require time, that require check-in and to register as a sex offender, turn him back out on the street without any kind of oversight over him. That's, again, if that don't fire you up, there's something wrong.
Well, it's fired us up. We're now, I think, on our second or third night of coverage on this story. We want to see if there's going to be a change, some resolution, some recourse for these moms and their daughters who have suffered through this. But I keep coming back to how it happened. Sir, do you think that the courts are corrupt? Is that how you think that this deal was maneuvered?
Oh, absolutely. We're working on grand juries right there. I think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I think we're going to see more cases like this. I think we're going to see, I'm working on a case that may be as shocking as this. We're trying to get the Payne County grand jury because of this kind of action. And so, yes, I mean, absolutely, there's a lot of problems. We're meeting with, you know, great resistance from their court and from our Oklahoma government. I mean, we're meeting with great resistance on trying to get that grand jury and hold these people accountable. So again, until they're held accountable, the laws are there. But what do you do when they you know, don't follow their own rules? When they don't follow justice? They took an oath to justice. Does this sound like justice? And again, here's what I'm saying: shouldn't we investigate? Should we not investigate? Was there political favor done here? Was this done as a result because of positions the father has, or because people knew each other? I would think that it would warrant investigation. And again, it's all allegations. We don't know what happened until we go in and investigate it. But golly, I'm mad as all get out, and we're trying to have other things there in that same county investigated. I mean, very, very corrupt things going on in this county and really across the state. There's all kinds of things. And guess what? We're having to fight our own Oklahoma government. This is red Oklahoma, and yet we're having to fight them, and we're having to fight the court system just to try to get things like rape and these type of cases investigated.
Well, I love the fact that you and Democrats, you said it's red Oklahoma, but Republicans and Democrats come together on this issue. I'm just hoping that you can actually force the hand and get this investigation kicked in, maybe a grand jury to look into it deeper. But short of that, sir, do you see any kind of federal path for these families with the facts and the affidavits that you've read? Have you seen anything that might actually give them some sort of standing in the federal courts?
I think that you could get to pass possibly to go to federal court. One, if we can get a grand jury and we can establish enough that there's no way that we get a fair hearing in Oklahoma, we could establish a federal grand jury and we could include this case. Now, I don't think you're going to get a reversal on the case, but you could look into, did the judges act right? Was there favoritism? Those kind of things. And again, if the family could prove favoritism or corruption in the court, that would be a cause to get that maybe into federal court. There's two vehicles possibly to get that done. It's going to be extremely hard. Once you get a ruling, very hard to get the court to change that ruling. And again, what you're going to see is this case put off, and they're going to try to outweight you and everybody forget and move on and go to some other newsworthy story. And again, we have case after case in just this county alone of these kind of incidents, not only rape, but arresting people who were turning in sexual abuse or abuse on their children, and they arrested them and put them in jail. So again, it's not just covering up rape, but it is going after people who come in and report these kind of abuses. So I mean, it's out of control. This is a big, big deal, and this is a big, big story. And if you look at what's going on and you put this rape case up beside grandmas and dads getting arrested for turning in abuse, that's when the community really is outraged. You want to get outrageous, start looking into everything and put it all in perspective, and you will get fired up. There is a lot of corruption going on in this community.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone. And
3 charges of rape by instrumentation, and you'll have to use your imagination about what that means, but yeah, it is literal. 1 count of sexual battery, 1 count of forcible oral sodomy, 2 counts of domestic assault and battery by strangulation, and 1 count of domestic assault and battery. And while there were even more and way bigger charges that the state likely could have thrown at this kid, like attempted murder, the 2 alleged victims and their families had every reason to believe that the wheels of justice were hard at work on this case, both for them and for the accused, Jesse Mack Butler. And before I tell you what ended up happening, let me tell you why he faced those specific charges, what he actually did to those 2 girls. You should know that these details are extremely graphic. They are despicable, but they are critical to this story, especially when you find out how the judge came down in this case. So fair warning, trigger warning, what I'm about to list out for you is very uncomfortable to say and to hear. A police affidavit says a girl who's identified only as LS because she's a minor dated Jesse Butler for about 3 months, starting in January of last year. She was 16 at the time. And during that time, the victim said Butler repeatedly raped and attempted to rape her and would strangle her if she refused. The teenage girl needed surgery to repair the damage done to her neck by the strangulation. And her doctor told her that she would have died had that strangulation lasted another 30 seconds. The girl said that she gave in to Jesse Mack Butler because he threatened to kill her and he threatened to kill her family.
And so here's the thing. Allegedly, he did actually attempt to take their lives. So I don't understand how you can look at how serious that is and say, yeah, we're going to charge him as a youthful offender because of his daddy. I mean, really? Like, are we still doing that? Like, that shouldn't even be a legal thing to do. So yes, I believe that the federal level should step in and undo all of this. Y'all got to fix this. This is ridiculous.
If she didn't give in. A separate affidavit says in March of last year, Butler took up with another 16-year-old girl identified only as KS. And that relationship lasted 6 months, but this teenager also said that Butler was aggressive and violent with her and says she went along with all the unwanted sex to avoid being hurt further. This victim also said that one time when she did refuse, Butler strangled her too. But get this, he recorded himself strangling her until she passed out.
Okay. Now, okay, I'm gonna be real with y'all. See, that doesn't sound alleged. Let me replay that part. I'm gonna back it up just for a second. That doesn't sound alleged at all.
Butler strangled her too. But get this, he recorded himself strangling her until she passed out. Refuse. Butler strangled her too. But get this, he recorded himself strangling her until she passed out.
He recorded it. How does your conscience allow you to get away with that, regardless of money, power, status, anything? You could have a status person and them have a kid that does something like this, and you still punish that individual for what they did. Like, you shouldn't be able to get around that. Like, that's just weird. Man. Yeah, I think they're going to have a case for the federal government to step in and undo this easily.
And lest you think this might be just a he said, she said, police later found that video on Jesse Mack Butler's phone. So that's what we call evidence. Jesse Butler pleaded not guilty to everything, as was his right off the bat. But in the coming months, for reasons that I will not pretend tonight to understand, the DA's office struck a deal with Butler's lawyers to change his status from adult to youthful offender. The victim's families begged the DA, please do not do that. Please, no. But in July, a judge decided to sign off on this. And in August, Jesse Mack Butler changed his plea from not guilty to no contest, meaning he knew there was ample evidence to convict him. And you should know that a conviction is the result of a no contest plea, right? That's what you get, convicted. By the way, I mentioned there were 10 counts before, but by August, there was one more. So the grand tally now stood at 11. The new count was for violating a protective order, which, oh my God, facing 10 felony counts and violating a protective order should have been a hell of a red flag for anybody, somebody. But the very same day that happened, Butler was sentenced to 78 years in prison, which sounds like a fitting punishment for somebody who nearly kills 2 teenage girls and rapes them repeatedly with all sorts of things. But as a youthful offender, Jesse Mack Butler was also entitled to special treatment, like a rehabilitation plan, which was drawn up by the Oklahoma Office of Juvenile Affairs, and that plan was presented to the court last week. This new punishment called for daily check-ins, weekly counseling, a curfew, no social media, and 150 hours of community service. Bam! They really brought down the hammer, huh? 150! Oh, that's like 3 weeks if you work really hard. This new plan is scheduled to stay in effect until Jesse Mack Butler turns 19. And that, my friends, is less than a year from now. So, wow, long punishment.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now.
Tell us all about it. How did it happen?
Hi, John. Yeah, we spoke to the mother of one of the victims who says that their heart is just broken here, and the family feels like there is really just zero justice in this case because the suspect avoided jail time and he was able to essentially just walk free. Jesse Butler here, he is now 18 years old. He was originally charged as an adult in March. He pled no contest to a laundry list of violent sex charges, including first-degree rape, domestic assault, battery by strangulation, and also a violation of a protective order. Now, according to police affidavits, both victims were 16-year-old students also at Stillwater High School in Oklahoma, and they were his girlfriends at the time. They described being repeatedly raped and strangled. The details in these court documents are extremely disturbing here. Butler was 17 when these crimes happened and reached a deal with the district attorney's office that had his status changed from adult to youthful offender. Now, the court found him guilty and sentenced him to 78 years in prison, but because he's now considered a youthful offender, he got to avoid prison time and was put on a rehabilitation plan. The victim's family says the DA's office should...
What do they call that? What is the word for that? Entitlement. That breeds complete entitlement. There's nothing he could do wrong up and to including attempted murder, and you get no punishment for that. It's entitlement.
Not have signed off on this deal, but this is a small town. Football runs the show, and the families point to Butler's father's influence because he's the former director of football operations at Oklahoma State University. Now, the mother of one of the victims told me, quote, "This was the first time we needed the justice system. We placed our trust in it. Sadly, we feel the system has failed the victims." State Representative J.G. Humphrey is now calling for an investigation.
We need an investigation into what's actually going on and get evidence to prove that this court is corrupt and that they are letting sex offenders go.
And we asked the Payne County DA why they agreed to this plea deal. They shared a lengthy statement in part, quote, "Because the 2 counts of attempted rape were the only alleged crimes among the 11 charged that even qualified the case for filing in adult court. And additionally, existing law strongly favors providing offenders under 18 an opportunity for rehabilitation." Now, Butler is going to have daily check-ins. He's also going to have weekly therapy sessions in order to avoid that jail time. But if he violates anything, then he
Really?
could be reclassified as an adult and could face that prison time.
So he'd have to do it again. God dog, man.
John.
Football runs the show. Haven't heard that one before. Brooke Taylor for us. Brooke, thank you.
Hey, everyone.
Wow. You do it one more time, then we're going to hold you accountable. Boy, if that is not some privilege, what y'all say in the chat? What was the word? Privilege and entitlement. Lord have mercy. This is horrible. This is one of the worst cases I've ever seen, man. But I think we need to do a part 2 and possibly a part 3 when the real Justice Department, the federal government comes in, get them involved to undo this, and then give him the sentencing that he actually deserves based on what they're saying is facts, right? He's not a youthful offender, and that's a discretionary thing. You should look at the situation and say, you know what, that might deem to be, it shouldn't be just a blanket thing. He's a youthful offender. We're going to treat him as a youthful offender. No, no, no. When you steal some candy, yes, you maybe should be charged as a youthful offender at age 17 going to 18. When you maybe, I don't know, poke a hole in a tire or something, or break a window, or maybe, maybe they catch you doing something to an animal, I don't know. Maybe then you can use your cautionary discretion and say maybe that should qualify as a youthful offender. This, including attempted murder and that RAP word, no deal. Fix this, Oklahoma. Fix it, Stillwater. Maybe the feds need to step in. And you know what? It's sad how there's situations that continue to prove that, you know what, y'all didn't get it right and the feds are going to have to step in. You keep proving them. Like, if you don't want the feds to step in, then just do the right thing from the jump. I think that's very simple, right? But again, that's getting political. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, okay? Thank you.